Hello and welcome. My name is Keiko and I will be introducing my world to y'all today. Bit of context, about a month ago I finally had the urge to start a bit of world building for my OC's world, and let me tell you, it was an interesting journey. It is not at all done, nor is it perfect, but the fact that I have a base right now and I know the style of world I want it to be, I'm excited to share the beginnings of it here, so I hope you enjoy. Also, the world is fiction, with the theme being fantasy, and I wanted to try and steer away from making it similar to the real world, but alas, my creative mind isn't too creative in the realm of making up words and names, so there'll be connections, well, as well as like other, I don't know, like concepts and foods and whatnot. But I'll try my best as time goes on to make the world feel different than the one we currently live in. Who knows, maybe y'all can help me out as well. Okay, officially, let's get into it. First, let me discuss this speed paint I'm sharing here. I had an idea of me watching my characters play a board game, specifically Monopoly, and they've been miniaturized to be the game pieces. I was quite proud of myself for the concept, though I'm sure others have had similar ideas. As I continued working on the piece, I realized instead of straight up Monopoly, it could be the theme of their world. This also made me realize that I had to think of around 20 new locations to rate on the board, because I only had 4 big locations named so far. The names are, of course, a work in progress, but it definitely helped provide some reference to what I want. The name of the board game is the name of the kingdom they all live in, and here we go. Welcome to the Kingdom of Ethrale, a kingdom consisting of 3 realms surrounded by a vast, foggy forest called Grimwood. This kingdom is home to a variety of species, ranging from humans to hybrids to magical creatures and the like. Ethrale is run by a royal family, have yet to be named, who live in the Inner Realm, now named Magnatheria. This is the kingdom where mostly half of my characters live/come from. In the beginning, the original name for the kingdom was Etheria. As you can probably tell, I was trying to fiddle with the word ethereal to hint that my world is otherworldly. Original, right? But my partner pointed out that I should look up the names I use before solidifying it, since I want to create a webcomic of this world. I don't know, maybe potential copyright issues may occur or something. Anywho's, the word Etheria has been used on multiple occasions, from a book to a video game, and finally, a singing group? I tried my best at mixing ethereal, and the best word I landed of the 3 was Ethrale. What further solidified my choice was that my mom said it sounded like an elf name. The inspirations I had for my world was of course fantasy themed: Lord of the Rings, Black Clover, The Dark Crystal, Neverending Story, some Ghibli films, and more media I consumed throughout my lifespan. You can definitely see Black Clover inspiration heavily in the map portion of the world, with the 3 realms and all. You'll see that later. Returning to the speed paint, all of my characters who live in Ethrale are present in the drawing. Well, except for Gandalf. I put him in there because I wanted to. He's always popping up. I don't know, who knows, maybe there'll be like a cameo or something in the comic. Other than him, everyone else is a citizen of the kingdom. We've got Chica in jail being giggled at by Angelique. This takes place after Angelique learns emotions. My fae holding the dice, so Malie and Liliana. Emilia placing down a strawberry. Hikaru in his normal attire. Fox sitting on cards because they didn't feel like playing. And the twins being the, encouragement for the players. I don't know, like those side cheerleaders there. I wanted the board to also reflect not only their world, but add a bit of my own enjoyment as well. So there's mushroom home pieces to signify the little homes you use in Monopoly, and then the strawberries represent the apartments, or like the bigger homes you use. I'm jumping back into the speed paint because I made a reference map for my world to use when I talk about it, so y'all have visual of what I'm talking about, but I can't really do that when there's a speed paint present, so it'll have to wait a bit. More things I added to the board was obviously the many locations within Ethrale. It was so difficult coming up with replacements to the luxury tax, the plumbing, and the electricity parts of the game. What's even more funny about this is that there's not really currency in Ethrale. I'm wanting to do a barter system, so it was difficult to choose a type of payment thing. I looked at other themed Monopoly games to see what they did for those, and essentially got the gist of what I could do. So I came up with purchasing a plot in the market, pay off debt, and then purchase a curse. All the other sections have names of bakeries, cafes, site location, the realm names, names of some notable parts, like what are they called? Trademarks? I think it came out pretty cool, and I'm very happy with the end result, even though I wanted to start over immediately after I started shading it. Nonetheless, trusting the process is always an important reminder when working on work in progresses. This same saying goes towards the building of my world, currently a work in progress. The comic won't be started on until sometime next year, so I'm using this time now to create my world. Even though I know that creating new worlds takes time and stuff, but with how my brain works, if I spend too much time on something, I'll end up getting tired of it, or I'll forget the content of what I'm working on, which is unfortunate. Also, my characters will be the shining lights of the comics, but I still want there to be structure in the world. So yeah, with that said, I think the speed paint is done. Let's continue. I made a rough map for Ethrele, and I'm actually quite happy with myself. It is my first time making a map of any kind, and it definitely was fun and difficult, though the outcome was worth it. I also colored it, so it was easier to tell things apart, since I squished everything together. There'll be a revised version of this, fret not. My partner had comments saying Glow Thistle didn't look livable, but I had to tell him that I took out buildings so we can see the structure for Magnatheria, a kingdom of 3 realms surrounded by Grimwood. The 3 realms go like this. The inner realm is Magnatheria. The name derives from magnolias, associated with nobility and love of nature in real life, and the kingdom's former name, Etheria, as it houses the royal family along with nobility, and the kingdom is built alongside nature. This realm not only houses the royal family and nobility, but also those whom the royal family chose to work for them, so a select few of inventors, artisans, chefs, knights, and so forth. A thing to note, each realm has their own special botanical that only grows in that area. Why? Probably a climate thing. Originally, as I was spitballing my world to my partner, I said something along the lines of a storm blew in stray seeds and they planted themselves in Etherle, which then the people had to make do building around the trees and foliage. Maybe I'll expand on that. Magnatheria houses the royal family and they live atop the great tree, a tree that shines of starlight, a source of magic, mayhaps? The special trees found here are iridescent flowers with tiny fruit in their center, strangely looking like magnolias. I wonder why that is. I wanted house-moving castle stacked building vibes for the homes in Magnatheria. Gives me a reason to draw tree houses, which will be fun. Though I do have to work on trees, I'm not the best at them. The way I drew the castle, I have to work on that too. I was inspired by the Child Empress's building in the Neverending Story because it's glowing and very beautiful. I'm aiming for the castle to give off greenhouse vibes. The revision will be that the castle will be built into the great tree so it can be more elevated, because here it just looks like a religious building behind a tree. Next we move to the middle realm called Glow Thistle, where its name is given because of the glowing thistle trees that grow sporadically throughout the land. Thistle has different symbolisms from several cultures in real life, such as devotion, bravery, determination, strength, protection, good luck, warding off evil, a tool for purification, and was once used as a remedy for the plague. With that said, my world is riddled with curses and characters who are associated or have overcome said curses, so having Thistle in there as a signifier of protection would be a cool nod to this fact. This realm also has a large courtyard area where events are often held for celebrations such as festivals or community gatherings of sorts. The housing is mostly commoners with a few knights scattered here and there, as well as other jobs like detectives, apothecaries, etc. At the moment, the courtyard is affectionately labeled Glow Thistle Plaza, unless changed in the future. You can see it located here. I want it front and center as it would be the entryway into Glow Thistle. If you look closely, there is a door here under the waterfall. When you enter into that, there's an expansion of Glow Thistle within. Same as the outside, it houses citizens and is filled with artisan shops, markets, botanicals, and other cool things. I'd say majority of my characters live in this particular realm. Fox, Mizuki, Misuzu, Angelique, and eventually Emilia reside in Glow Thistle, and there are also notable characters recently created who were also added to this world, such as the Nightmare Consumer, the Seller of Watches, some sprites who work in cafes, Ash, these 2 characters I have yet to name, Lumiere, and I landed on the name Atlas for this guy. Last realm is Pluiebloom. Pluiebloom is the remaining realm, or also known as the Outer Realm. It is the realm that houses most of the people, and the jobs are scattered between farmers to assassins, since it is connected to grassland that is also connected to Grimwood. Since it is the outskirts, it makes it easier for assassins or people of the sort to live privately without the prying eyes of knights. The name Pluiebloom comes from the word pluie, meaning rain in French, and bloom for the act of blooming. This is also the name I've given to a flower I created that only blooms when it rains. This flower can only be found in Pluiebloom, hence the name choice for the realm. When it rains, a festival is held to celebrate the beauty of this flower, which will also be seen as the kingdom's flower. So when drawing the map, I kind of forgot that I said majority of the people live in Pluiebloom. So now from the map, it looks like majority lives in Glow Thistle as like a bustling city. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Revisions will be made. Speaking of assassins, their location is in the top left corner. I've currently named their organization Grimhouse because it is in Grimwood. I am so bad at names. Anyways, so this is where Hikaru lives. Chika is another assassin, but since she is not a part of Grimhouse, she lives in the bottom left corner. Attached attached to a swamp. Additional fact, Fox is originally from this little village here, moved into Glowthistle to expand their family's apothecary business. Here is a look at the Pluiebloom flower. I made a little reference for it. It only grows in Pluiebloom and blossoms when it rains. It is special because rain doesn't come as frequently as one might think despite the many lush foliage present. I drew inspiration from the fly-by-night flower in the film Mary and the Witch's Flower because of the beautiful glowing berries. Though my flower doesn't give you witch powers, it just glows and tastes really sweet after being cooked. There is an example of a specialty dessert made during the Pluiebloom festival. I enjoy fruit tarts myself, so I made the specialty dessert a Pluiebloom tart, a buttery, crumbly crust topped with a citrus-like cream to combat the sickly sweet berries. The taste would be similar to that of an incredibly sweet grape, I imagine. This is a flower and contents that do not need revision. I am oh so pleased with this plant. Finally, we move into the surrounding forest of Grimwood. Grimwood, the forest that circles the entirety of Etherley, keeping the kingdom both safe but separated from the rest of the world. This forest is filled with a variety of creatures from fairies to unicorns to deities and demons. It also houses plants, veggies, and fruits, both edible and toxic. The terrain ranges from large, overhanging trees to bogs and marshy, overgrown swamps. It is constantly covered/filled with fog, so if one were to travel alone in the forest, they must be very wary, or else they'll be either eaten, whisked away, or fall into some type of hole in the ground if not careful. I chose the name Grimwood because Grim reminds me of the Grimm brothers and their fairy tale stories, and grim means serious and gloomy, which is what the forest I want to create is. Though one will, if one doesn't get lost, come across pockets of lush flora that aren't grim, but more so inviting and beautiful. I hope to expand on this more since I very much enjoy forests and very much are afraid of them, and what possible creatures can lurk within. The remaining characters live in Grimwood, those being my fairies, Malie and Liliana, and Feyland is now named Will-o-wisp, like Will-o'-the-Wisp, because it is located on a tiny piece of land surrounded by water. Here's a photo that gave me the inspiration for this idea. The Fae's original form are these tiny sprites, but when they leave over the water barrier, they get their human forms, where their wings are hidden as glowing tattoos on their backs. Other notable creatures and characters that live in Grimwood are these unicorn and dragon characters. I have yet to design some not so beautiful creatures yet. I really want to, so I'll make sure to add that to my list of things to do. Oh yes, the twins are also from Grimwood. I have yet to introduce them. I also want to tweak their designs a bit, as well as change up their names to match the setting of my world. Also, I want the shape of the land to be like as you walk through Pluiebloom into Glowthistle and Magnetheria, it feels like a natural incline is happening. Does that make sense? I'll try to properly draw that in the map's revision. Last minute addition before I forget, I also made the kingdom's crest. Here it is, 3 Pluiebloom berries and 3 leaves. The use of threes is supposed to represent the 3 realms. I was quite pleased with this. I enjoy the simplicity of the design, and you can see it scattered around the board game as well. I feel like it would be easy to implement when I designed the knight's armor and the royal family's attire and castle. I hope you enjoyed listening to my rambling about the start of my world building journey. As I said before, it all is a work in progress, but I really wanted to share what I had with you guys so far, because although creating a new world is quite difficult for me, it definitely is rewarding to see the world my characters live in come to life. The board game drawing has much more meaning now, as if I'm watching them live their lives and do explorations and whatnot. The creator watching play the game of life. I can't wait to expand the contents of this world, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. As time goes on, maybe I'll make videos where I'm creating new herbs and foods for the world so y'all can see them and possibly give input if you want. I'll definitely make a video creating the royal family and knights. I'll need a lot of time to think about them though before that happens, because I want their designs to be intentional. With all that said, thank you so much for watching till the end if you did. If you have any comments or ideas you'd like to share, please feel free to comment them below as usual. And as usual, have a beautiful day or night wherever you are. Goodbye!